right, folks. Last round, we kind of stabbed the back onto the front. I think for this round, what I'd really like to do is get that attached to the front and kind of make a union with everything here. It's kind of loosely tacked in, but we got to fix the other side because there's that big opening, that hole in there. And well, it'd be nice if the doors open closed. I don't know if we'll get like the full rocker done, but I'd like to get the two bits. I think try to make it look like a complete car. That's kind of my plan. The door here has some damage and we got to do some work with this, but I might cut parts out of the other door to fix it. Like my two-door doors. I'll use the back side, like, I don't know. I'll use parts to try to fix what's broken on here, but for now, I want to get these gaps good, fix the doors up, weld the rear quarters, like the rear quarter like properly to this thing, so we got stuff working. That's kind of what we're trying to go for. Anyways, I'm going to start on the other side. We're going to try to get, I'm going to go skin one of these doors and try to fasten it to this big hole on the other side. Well, now that's fitting pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. We got to still do some more tweaking. I had to pull the front out, or I had to lift. We had to break the weld down here, and I had to twist this a little bit because up here we weren't getting a very good gap. Like this had a huge gap. There's still a little bit. We still do a little bit of tweaking, but for the most part, we are on the money. That's good. This here, this gap is good. We got to pull this inner fender out a little bit. But I might steal some of the inner fender from there because it's nicer shape. Well, some of it is anyways. But for now we got this. Once I get this to a more happier shape, I'm going to do the cut and butt up into here. And we'll kind of fasten this thing permanently to the car. We'll rebuild this structure by stealing from that car there. But anyways, yeah, making progress. At least it's got not a big gaping hole anymore. I think once that's all zapped in, I'll look at this rocker and we're going to try to scab these two together. Try to make that a solid piece. And then I guess eventually we'll try to work into the roof there and try to get that other roof section somehow fandangled into everything here. That's the plan anyways. All right, I brought this panel. I've kicked it up here. My plan is, because this one's been patched and kind of, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with it, but I got a good bit and I'm not going to be able to use that for anything else when I'm done. So I think I'm going to I don't know. I'm going to carve up somewhere in this vicinity. Maybe I'll go further back. I'm going to carve up, because you can see this part's nice. This part's, it's got some dents, which is no big deal, but they're super nice on this one. So if I'm going to patch in something, I may as well just cut up, chunk out that whole thing. We can kind of scab that section into here, bring it down, fix this while we're at it, because whatever, it's a little bit of welding, not a big deal. Hopefully get this all back in, braced up. I'm not going to worry about the inside section. See, this one's been patched over here and stuff, and all the bits are nice on this car. But again, with that said, somewhere around here is where my axle is going to be. And we're going to be just chopping this out anyways to do a step notch for the suspension. So I'm not too worried about that right now. But anyways, I'm just going to do a blind cut straight up and across, and then we will graft it into here and try to join all of these bits together. It's kind of the goal here. Try to make it all one piece. Like I said before, I shimmed it up back here because this gap was actually coming in, so this section of the trunk, I guess, got sagged down kind of thing, I guess, with all this damage and whatnot. But this part, I should say in here yet, I got to, because you can see the big gap inside, it's got to go tight, but I guess we could bridge that. I almost got to find a rod or do something just to give us like a similar edge that this was, because this was like the rear doors they used to open. So I have actually tightened the gap up. They were actually quite a bit bigger gap before, but this is okay to me. I mean, I guess you could have a tighter gap, but I'm fine with that. I mean, mind you, by the time it's done, it might be a little tighter when you do body work and everything else. Anyways, cut. Let's start cutting. All right, folks. To be completely honest, this is not working as I planned. In my head, this was going to work out a lot better than it does, or it is. So, what I learned is these the sedan fenders are actually like wider by a lot. I guess the way that quarter at the bottom is kind of the way this one is, but where it's stepped out, it's actually quite a bit wider. So, whatever. So we know. So in order for me to make my life a little easier, I have actually made it a lot harder here, because I did this for the couple little dents and things, and then there was a patch in the bottom, so I figure, oh, I'll just do that and it'll fix most of the patchwork. But okay, lesson learned. That didn't work out well. So it was too wide. We had to do a slit down here, and to get this upper part to go in. So we did that. It looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a schwink there. We'll kind of bang it out after. The rest of it's okay. We're going to get up into here. I'm just going to do a butt, like a cut and a butt. I don't know what I'm doing up here yet. We're going to wait till I do the roof, so we won't worry about this part at all. This down here is, yeah, the fender seems lower, but the fender still fits fine, so I'm not going to stress over it. We will have to build up, because you can see where this edge to this here is. So this technically has to come out a little more, but we won't worry ourselves too much about it right now. We will just try to chunk along a piece by piece until we get this thing kind of working. We're going to finish this, like, we'll zap this up better, we'll grind this, then we can do a nice weld on it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess lesson learned. Trying to make my life easier just made it a whole lot harder. Oh well. We will keep plugging away. Not a big deal. Won't sweat it. Yeah, like I say, it looks messed up. If the door was on there, it'd be messed up. But hey, watch. When we finish it up, you'll never even notice. It'll be fine. The arch looks fine, so... And like I say, I test fit the fender, and it fits fine. Doesn't do anything weird. So, meh. No big deal. We're pretty much building the car from scratch here, so it'll be fine. Anyways, I'm gonna keep welding away here. Hopefully it comes to something nice. We are slowly fixing our mess here. We're getting there. Not too bad. Got this welded, this is welded. Forgot to planish it out. That won't be a big deal. We still have to fasten the bottom somehow yet to here. I'm thinking because this is rotten, we're going to rebuild this and make this as one piece down. Over here, we welded, put a little rod, we welded it. It's pretty flush, pretty happy with it. Stuff all lines up nice. Still don't know what we're doing on the upper half, but this is pretty good. We're going to have to do some bracing on the inside because it's going to need like an X to hold the back section right, because I notice if I don't put a block in the back end kind of hangs down, which then causes the doors not to work right. So I kind of know what's doing it. We just gotta, it's probably because this is still not fully fastened into this part, into the structure. So that's kind of my guess, but for now I know how to resolve it. Like, this is good. I can almost tack this door shut or something till I build this rocker panel. That said, we're gonna have to address this side next. This side is nowhere near as bad. I might skin this yet, like pull that, because it's whatever. We gotta weld it. I'm not gonna make the same mistake though that I did with this. So if I do anything, it'll be this lower portion. And I might come up here and then redo this again, similar to the way I did the other side, because down here is kind of boogered anyways. You can see how it's lapping on the door all goofy. And then this part doesn't line up here. So this I know why this is because I have the door gap way too tight. You see how open I had the other side? So once I correct this to this line, this will fix the door gap issue. It'll fix that part. Once I get those little bits fixed, I'm only gonna take off what I need down here off of this part over here. I'm only gonna pick the lower part of the leg. I'm not gonna make myself a whole buttload of work again like I did the other side. So we'll do this little section, attach it down here, and like I say, once I get this post welded and stuff, we'll probably, because this has got a lot of weird weld on it and it's just wavy as snot, so I'll just cut the skin off that door and we'll just trim it into fitting into here again. So anyways, I guess I'm gonna go in for supper and then I'm gonna come back and we'll just tackle this sucker, kind of get her done, kind of get it like fastened.
I got this little arch welded in. We cut it off. We've kind of graphed this in. So the car's held together okay here. It's got a little bit of side-to-side movement. The problem I have now is the door drops because the rocker is bad. So, I know this is terrible in here, but see my door drops a bunch and you can see there's twist. Maybe you can't. Anyways, there's some twist in the rocker, and because it's all rotten all the way along, I took the rocker that I made for the old body. We've had to tweak it because now I actually know what it's supposed to look like. So we've kind of tweaked it, followed the outside perimeter here. So now what I want to do is actually just cut this off on top and try to box it into there. So this will become the new outside rocker. I know it's thicker than the other one, but I'm not too worried about it. I do want to bring it as far back as I can and tie it into as much stuff as I can. This might make things go a little floppy over here, but well, hopefully I can get it all to sit where it's supposed to be. So then down, yeah, I don't know, like the door bottom's there. I don't know. We're just blindly gonna cut and pocket this thing in till it's about flush with the outside of here, and hopefully it strengthens it up. We'll have to tie it into the bottom yet, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but like I say, we're gonna splooge and booger everything together. Once that's in, we can kind of make a panel here to this thing, and that should totally strengthen up this rear section of the car as far as being fastened to here anyways. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully it works. I don't know what else to do. All right. We have our rocker tacked in. Well, actually, more than tacked in. It's tacked in like aggressive tacking into the front, but this needs to come in a little more, but there's something stopping it on the inside. I have to work on that part a little bit. This part's all good. And we patched in my rocker, or my quarter panel. This was the one that I made, was that full quarter panel that I had made. Well, at least, like the rest of this panel's good now. Well, it's okay. I wouldn't say good, but it's probably even better than my panel was. Anyways, I cut it out. We welded it in. We just got to, we did a couple more pinholes. I fixed that stuff, so I got to clean that up to later. We will trim this rocker. These rockers are bigger than the other ones by, for sure, a ½ inch longer, but I'm not too worried about it. We can always modify up and get our running boards to semi-mount into it. They were like half the size just about before. Anyways, this side doesn't come in as tight, and I think it has to do with the inner structure. For the most part, it's fine. I might just sliver this one and move it in a wee bit. I'm not going to concern myself too much. It's all covered by the running boards or the fenders, so I'm not worried what's the problem there. This one I had put in, but it was a little bit off. I busted it. I moved it out, so now this is lined up with the door like it's supposed to. I just have to make this part just pretty hammered, this thing. I might cut this off and then get in here and hit it with the plenishing hammer quick, and just to get some shape back into this thing, because it's pretty wowed and everything's kind of buggered. Though, yeah, I don't know if I feel like doing it tonight. I'm kind of beat. I think I'm good. Well, maybe I'll cut it open and then we'll at least plenish this thing. That way tomorrow I'm going to cut more of the other skin that I had made, and we can make another, like we can make a lower patch here. And then at least that gets this chunk of the cab pretty solid. I think ideally what I'd like to do is get this lifted up so I can pinch the inner rocker structure to this new one, tighten it up a little bit. Because this comes out just a hair, and I'd like to just twist it just to come in a little bit, but I'm not even too worried. It's probably fine. Also, the way it is, I'm not going to worry myself too much about it. Yeah, let's just cut this. Let's cut this off, and then we'll see how bad this stuff is after. Well, I opted to weld this panel in. It seems like it's a lot of work welding all of this than it was like fixing those dents, but those dents were brutal. There was like, I don't know where the panel is. Well, it's probably in here. Where did it fall? Oh, I still haven't tore it out. It's in here. I'll show you tomorrow. I don't feel like it right now. Anyways, there are so many dents, and then there's so much weld build up in the back. It was like more work to fix than it was worth. So anyways, we put this one in. We took some of the skin from the other side. We used it as a door bottom. I had to redo the edge, so we got to still finesse this. But we did bend the edge, so we can kind of boog this all together, and we should have a fairly straight line there. And then we zap it to the bottom. The idea is I'm just going to smear this part, and it'll just blend in with the rocker. Yeah. So instead of doing nothing, I spent another, what was it? Probably 45 minutes. And I pretty much got this panel tacked in. So I'm pretty happy with that. I guess tomorrow's plan will be to weld this sucker in solid. We're going to put a few more welds into the front, but then I think we'll be pretty confident after that. I think our next steps we're going to do after is we'll pull this front sheet metal off. I'll be able to lift this body up off of this part, and I want to blast the inner rockers and kind of pinch them up tight, fix a few things. Like I say, this side fits nice, the other side doesn't. So there's something going on with that inner rocker, or something's happening there. I want to try to even them two out, and we can trim that off, and hey, we got a good beefy structure. We can kind of do a couple of cross braces, and it should be solid till we start dinking around with the roof there. But anyways, you guys have seen me weld tons and tons. I'm going to come in tomorrow. I'm going to zap this in. I'm going to weld that up solid. We're going to clean her up. And then I guess that's what we're going to call this one. Next round, like I say, we'll pull the sheet metal off. We're going to fix the inner rockers. And then I think we're going to start focusing, trying to get the roof, like get it to look like a 5-window before we start cutting it back up again. That's the idea, is I want to get the door gaps and everything all good up on top. And then we'll kind of start hacking it up again one more time to make it into my 3-window that I want. Anyways, I think this is where we're going to leave this video for now. I want to thank you folks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Later.